Welcome classic rock fans, welcome Patreons to an episode of Beneath the Covers, and today, as advertised, we're looking at the cover of this iconic album. This was an album that has a very interesting backstory, which is all part of its charm and appeal, I think. And this backstory of infidelity and bed hopping all bled out into the music and the songs. This is one of the most popular albums of all time. I think it's shifted about 45 million copies, something insane like that. I'll talk a little bit about my thoughts on this record after we've discussed this very enigmatic and mysterious cover. I have to say it's a beautifully crafted album. That's one thing you can say about it, and all that pain and anguish and angst pours out in many of the songs on this record. I think that's what people like, what people find appealing, is that level of honesty from musicians. I think that's why, for my money, I think John Lennon's first solo album, the Plastic Ono Band album, is his finest. But this album cover signposts the journey that the listener is about to embark upon. We have Stevie Nicks dancing around very mysteriously and seductively, I have to say, with the chiffon and lace flowing behind her. She's in full Rhiannon mode here, the Welsh Witch of Lore. And then there's the very aloof Mick Fleetwood with those pendulous balls of his swinging there. It's an album cover that, even if you took the band's name off it, I think everybody would instantly recognise. And irrespective of Mick Fleetwood's balls, this album speaks of a sexual frisson and depicts the very puzzling state of the relationship of this band and its band members. And Stevie Nicks is gazing into the crystal ball as if she wants to find something, or perhaps casting a spell, who knows. Well, the lithe figure of Mick Fleetwood very much dominates. And many people have argued recently, of course, that it's an image of an archetypal image, a symbol of male power, which I just think is a load of bollocks, to be honest with you. It's very much in keeping in tone with the last album that had John McVie on his knees, almost in prayerful supplication, with Mick Fleetwood once more standing over him with a glass of something. But this one, of course, you have Mick Fleetwood, who bizarrely has got his foot on a footstool. The footstool is actually provided by Worthington, who was the photographer. What was his real name? Herbert Worthington. Interestingly, the story surrounding the wooden balls are actually nicked from a toilet. I think they're toilet chains from the early days of Fleetwood Mac. And I think Mick Fleetwood said he stole them as a good luck charm. Not so much a good luck charm for the person that went in after him and needed to flush. But nevertheless, this became a stable part of the stage setup, and that's reflected in this photograph. But nevertheless, many have argued that this album cover is one that's pregnant with symbolism. I believe the photographer Herbert Worthington was very much responsible for the composition and idea behind this photograph. And this album cover contains imagery which has now become very much part of the iconography of this band. Mick Fleetwood gazing into that crystal ball as Stevie Nicks holds his hand and also gazes into the crystal ball looking for answers. It's almost as if they're inviting us into the very mystical and strange world that is Fleetwood Mac at this moment. As I've said, this bears a remarkable similarity to the first album. Fans often refer to it as the White Album, like some sort of visual. It was going to be part of a visual trilogy, I believe. A kind of luxurious soft rock anthology of melding of all these albums. But I think that particular fox was shot by the Tusk album. But nevertheless, despite the multi-million dollar platinum odyssey that these albums would bring, things at Camp Fleetwood weren't exactly rosy. Of course, the album is called Rumours, which is very much indicative of the themes that are going to be explored, these very hushed and whispered accusations that were going to be explored on this record. And Worthington perfectly accomplishes this with this beautifully framed mystical photograph that very much contributes to the band's allure. Overall, this is one of those albums that if I never hear it again, I'd be okay with that. There's two songs on here that I think are sublimely beautiful and wonderful, wonderful tracks. That's The Chain and Gold Dust Woman. That have a mystical resonance to them, a spiky quality to them, especially The Chain. It's one of those songs if I hear that I have to hear all the way to the end. It's just fantastic. But a lot of this material on this album, to my mind, is stuff that I could quite happily ignore, really. Dreams, Never Going Back Again, Secondhand News. I mean, these are great songs, don't get me wrong, but I think Fleetwood Mac have done better albums. Don't Stop is a song whenever I hear on the radio, I wish they would stop. Go Your Own Way is a great one. A very spiky, angry number. Love the guitar solo at the end, I have to say. Here's another confession, really. I'm not a huge fan of Christine McVie's voice. I don't like You Make Loving Fun. I don't like that track at all. Oh Daddy, I can do without. And even Songbird. Songbird is a beautiful lyric, beautiful refrain. It's one that it's another one that's kind of overstayed its welcome with me. So yeah, I Don't Want to Know, again, is fairly thorough. I love the guitar picking, very complex guitar pick from Lindsey Buckingham at the start of, where is it? Is it Never Going Back? Never Going Back Again. Great one. But overall, it's an album that I have on my shelf. It's an album that adorns many shelves. It's considered a classic album, but it's one that I think is lauded a little bit too much at times. Anyway, you've been watching an episode of Beneath the Covers. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a Patreon, supporting my channel. I hope you will continue to do so. Anyway, it just leaves me to say I hope you're all staying safe and keeping warm, but more importantly that you keep listening.